Welcome to Buckeye Turf Podcast. My name is Carl Dannerberger, instructor for the online golf course certificate program and some of the turfgrass science courses here at The Ohio State University. The topic of this podcast is removing grain and providing a finer texture putting green surface. If turfgrass growth becomes horizontal, the leaves begin to lie in various directions. We call this grain. Oftentimes with grain, the leaves are coarse in nature, contributing to a general roughness to the turf. The impact of grain is often observed on putting greens. If you are putting with the grain, the ball will tend to roll further or be faster than if you are putting against the grain, which will be a much slower putt. Thus the greens lack what golfers desire: consistency. Of the cool season turf grasses, creeping bentgrass is associated with grain much more than, for example, Poa annua. This is due in a large part to the growth habit of the turf grass. Poa annua grows more upright, while creeping bentgrass is more prostrate in growth. In this picture, the difference in growth habit is pretty evident. The yellow arrow is pointing to the patch of Poa annua. Notice the upright, dense turf. In contrast, the red arrow is pointing to the lighter colored creeping bentgrass that is more prostrate in growth habit and more coarse in texture. Bermuda grass greens often develop grain. The ultra dwarfs often develop patches of grain, shown in this case by the lighter colored areas. It appears to me the plants in these grainy areas often have swirling or twisted type of look. How these patches or areas formed may be due to several factors, including genetic mutation. The severity of grain that can occur in Bermuda grass greens can be observed in this photograph. In this case, the cup has been changed and replugged from a previous hole location in a grainy area. Notice on the plug the plants are growing in a different direction than the area surrounding the cup. Oftentimes on Bermuda grass greens, the person changing the cup will try to line the plug's growth with that of the surrounding area, or take a plug from a similar patch or area, which was done here. The mechanical practice to remove grain and improve texture that we will discuss are listed again here. In general, the goal is to get the turfgrass plants to grow vertically or upright, thus removing grain and improving density and texture of the turf. Mowing height, frequency, and direction help improve grain and improve leaf texture. Lower mowing heights tend to increase density, resulting in finer texture and reduced grain. Frequently changing the direction of mowing can help remove grain by forcing the turf plant to grow more upright versus mowing in the same direction, resulting in the plants laying in one direction. Changing the mowing direction daily is a common practice. In this case, this chart tells the people mowing greens what direction they will be mowing for the day. As a side note, on fairways where changing the mowing direction is more restricted, a circular mowing pattern is occasionally done to help remove grain. Where I have seen the circular mowing pattern most commonly done is a week or so before a golf tournament to help remove some of the grain prior to burning in the mowing pattern during the week of the tournament. This practice is most common on Bermuda grass. The type of roller on the front of the greens mower can impact grain and texture. Grooved rollers tend to stand the plant up prior to being cut by the mowing unit, especially compared to solid rollers. Verticutting is a common practice to remove grain and provide a finer texture. Turning of the blades are set in contact or slightly below the soil surface to cut stolons. The cutting of stolons helps remove some of the lateral growth and also stimulate new leaf appearance on the buds adjacent to the cut stolon. The red line represents a blade cutting the stolon, stimulating new shoots at the buds, resulting in increased turf density. Verticutting can also be done to help remove organic matter from the green. Aggressively verticutting is common on Bermuda grass greens. Grooming is similar to verticutting, except that oftentimes the grooming action occurs with the blade set at or slightly above the cutting height. This helps remove some of the leaf tissue, hopefully the more coarse textured leaves. Brushing is a common practice to get the turf plants to stand more upright prior to cut. Again, the operation removes grain and helps remove some of the coarser leaf blades. Top dressing also helps remove grain by forcing the plants to grow more upright through the top dressing layer. To show the effect of some of these practices, we set up a demonstration area on this creeping bentgrass turf this past spring. In this case, the turf is being mowed at 17/100ths of an inch height of cut. If we look at this area from a distance, even though it is not regularly mowed, it looks okay. But upon closer examination, you can see that the leaves are much wider or coarser than we would want, and they are lying directionally, resulting in grain. If we look at some of the practices previously mentioned, like top dressing, and in this case we also brushed, we can see the plants are forced more upright, which, when mowed, should begin the process of promoting more upright growth. Here's the verticut plot. In this case, the blades were set at a 1/16th of an inch below the cutting height, which given the amount of thatch present, did cause some discoloration and injury. Again, this practice is often done to stimulate new growth at stolen nodes and may help provide removal of coarser leaves and organic matter. How aggressive should you be in removing grain and improving texture? Depending on how much grain and coarseness is present, I prefer a gradual, continual process. If removal of grain or coarseness is too aggressive, damage to the turf may occur, and in some cases small spots or bare areas may appear if the tissue is removed too quickly. The spots occur when wide or coarse leaves are lying horizontally, causing a micro shading of the turf, resulting in small voids under these leaves. A more gradual process reduces injury and also allows for the turf to fill in these spots as the leaves are gradually removed. In the study above, the turf is not of the quality most often found on golf greens. In the following two photographs, the effect of these above-mentioned practices can be seen on a quality putting surface. This is a photo of the green at the start. Notice some of the coarser textured plants have been brushed up, in this case by my hand. And now a little over a week later, we can see an increase in density, finer leaf blades, and an upright growth habit due to some of these practices. This concludes the presentation on grain removal, improving the texture of the turf.